A little guitar lesson on a bit of a neoclassical style in the key of A minor. This was requested by Zachary Corman, I believe the name is Corman. And we're gonna go over just some sweeps, some arpeggios, 4 different patterns. We're gonna go over basically A natural minor with a raised 7th. I think it's technically like Phrygian or something. And just sort of maybe like a pedal point here and there, just to get that style, that sound, and then you can take it and do whatever you want with it. So I'm tuned down a whole step. So I might not be in tune with you, but you know, the point is to show you the scale. So that's essentially the sound. So you're going to be 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, and then 6, 7. So 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 6, 7. So it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, fucking G sharp, A. So then, like, to shred it, just continue it up. So that's an example of the style. Let's go over the whole scale from the bottom string to the top string. So slowly, it's going to be like this. So that's it, you already practice it. And if you already know the A natural minor scale, all you need to do is raise the 7th note. So you don't have to really learn a whole new scale. It's like the same thing with 1 note difference. What's that? So that's the note you're raising. So, you kind of I've kind of applied a lot of Paul Gilbert's style licks to that scale to get that sound, and then just speed it up. Here's the patterns, the sweeping, the shapes for the arpeggios. So the first one's going to be a 6-string A minor. So that's just this. That's going to be, outlining a minor bar chord, but just to make it super clear and simple, 5, 8 on the 6th string, 7 on the 5th string, 7 on the D string, on the 4th string I should say, just to be consistent, 5 on the 3rd, 5 on the 2nd, and 5 on the 1st, and then hit the C note there on the 1st as well, and that's your... Okay, so why that's important is because, that's cool, but it can sound muddy, and you can't really sequence it that well. I mean, you can, but it's like, why? So, something that I came up with, kind of just based off of this sort of thing, is to continue that, and then sequence it. So I kind of go like this. And it's almost all the same notes, except now you have this E note up here, rather than here. So just to play it slowly so you can kind of watch and learn. This is my first lesson I'm really giving, so I mean, I don't know. The point is that you learn this. So here, I'll do it, and then you can just, you know, follow what I'm doing. So basically like a power chord, you're going root fifth, third, root fifth, third. So that's your first section of that. Your second, it would be this. So that's just going to be 7 on the 4th string, 5 on the G, and then a 9 on the G as well, and then you're going to go up to the 5th on the 1st. So, and then this note here is the 8th fret of the 1st string. So you have, and I do that out of habit to add in the 2nd, but you don't have to. So that's the first shape. And you can sequence it however you want. That's just how I do it usually. Because I think the seconds give it that really classical slash neoclassical sound. So that's that. Now let's move on to the next one. So this is just diminished. And it's a little bit more challenging in my opinion, but if you practice it, it'll be like a second nature. So it's going to start on the 4th fret, that's your raised 7th. Well, basically, it's really like in the video, I'm playing it like this. So that's you're starting on the B note, and oh man, and it's on the 7th fret of the 6th string. So it's going to be B, A flat, A. So now that's your pattern. So all you got to do is use that and keep it going just like that in groups of 4 up the shape. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next note you start here on the 7th fret. It's the E note, whatever, the 7th fret of the A string. That's your first section of the shape. Then the second one you're going to start on the C flat or the B, and it's going to be like this. Next one, and the next one, and then finally, and that gives it that, in my opinion, and also it just does, it gives it that very classical cadence. That sort of thing. Let's see. That's instant classical. It's so, you know. That raised 7th to the root is like how to get that sound really quickly and easily. And even if you don't know anything about the scales, you just play that. Now you're a classical composer. Anyway, so yeah, to reiterate, for a recap, it's first two, the second two, and the third two. So that's it, sped up a little bit and slowly again. All right, so that's your second shape, and now that shape, I guess technically there's only 3 shapes, but that shape is the same one as this. That's the same one as this. So it's just diminished, just basically slide it up just 3 frets. And it's going to be on the, so you start on the 7th fret, you're hitting that raised 7th, you go to the B there, to the D, F, A flat or G sharp, whatever, B, and then finally D. So I like to do that, but I'll add in the C and the E. So it's, oops, oh my bad. So it's, so slowly. This. Now you're sounding even more classical. But really, the best one I think to add it to is there's another shape for A minor, which is also 5-string. I guess there are 4 shapes. Would be, and I consider this like a lot of people use this. It's, when I was learning how to sweep, it was the one that I got the quickest. And so it's like a 2nd inversion. So you start on the 7th fret of the 5th string, and that's going to be your E note. And you go to the A, and that's what makes it a 2nd inversion, is that you're starting on the 5th note of the scale. Or whatever. So, 5, 1, 3, there's your C. But anyway, it's, you probably already know it. But anyway, to get the sound, the neoclassical sound, because you could just do it like this, and that's, boring, right? We all think that's boring. Land on the F, and then go to the E. Those half, those semitones really add to the sort of flavor of the neoclassical meal that we're trying to serve up here. So, you go up, come down. Once you hit that 7th fret, hit the octave right afterwards. So, to play it slow. So even slower. Then after that, just do like a classic Paul Gilbert run. End up around here, Now at this point, we're going to get into the fourth shape, which you probably already know too, but it's going to be another A minor, and it's starting on the 12th fret, and that's just the first inversion, not first inversion, it's just a regular old arpeggio, so A, C, I'm sorry, A, C, E. So, and then you could go to the root, right? But to get that extra neoclassical sound, right, you're adding extra salt here. Instead of going like this, go to the raised seventh. So that's essentially the foundation of that sound. Diminished minor and a raised seventh, and then obviously not just speed, but articulation and precision as well. And rhythm is very important. I highly recommend practicing slowly to a metronome for like 5 minutes, and then just trying to go as fast as you can, you know, with the metronome or without it, you know, as fast as you can, blah, blah, blah. And then while you're speeding up though, it's important to maintain the balance of the notes. So for example, you want the patterns to be even, not like, but, so, not, I don't know, I can't even do it the other way. I get like, you know, I'm not trying to mess up. So let's see, what else? Oh yeah, one last thing for that sound is you want to go from an E major to an A minor. So that's like this. But if you want something more than just that, then I would suggest this shape here. This is a 6-string major arpeggio. You move it all around the neck. And then, so because the sound comes from, your last note is the raised 7th of the A minor scale, and it's also the final note in that arpeggio pattern. And then obviously with the A minor you have the A here. So that's pretty much it. And then using that, just sort of write your own thing. You know, it might seem easy that I'm doing it, but that's part of my warm-up. I do it all the time. I highly suggest practicing unplugged, and you know, maybe tuning to like E flat or even D standard. This is only in D standard because I had to tune it by ear. I just do it in D standard for whatever reason. And that's about it. I mean, if you have any more questions, I'll be happy to make another video. It's my first time making a video lesson, so you know, I hope you learned something from it. And if you know you want to learn some more stuff, there's plenty that I can show you. I've seen your playing though, and I think you know you pretty much probably got it already. So I mean, but you know, any questions? I'm happy to do this, especially during this quarantine. And just, you know, metronome practice is the key to that.